Alright, hey you guys, this is TsubakiSwagg and I'm coming to you with my review of Parasyte's Maxim episode 20, Crime and Punishment. Oh my god, I really was not prepared at all in the slightest for this episode. I don't even know where to start. I just want to say, how in the world is Shinichi going to be able to handle Gotoh? Like, there is no possible way. I honestly do not understand how in the world Shinichi is going to handle Gotoh. Just, uh, sweet baby Jesus. In this episode, really, I don't know. I don't know. This episode was really, really interesting. Let me stop freaking out for a minute, at least tell you a rundown of the episode. Pretty much, this episode, of course, picks up where the last one left off at, where they were walking in front of the vans where you can detect, well, where they were detecting whether or not a person was a parasite or not. And they singled out the one woman and they killed her. She tried to kill them and she died because they shot her in the chest. So they determined, well, the leader of the ops determined that the one way to kill a parasite is to kill its body, because shooting the actual parasite itself isn't going to do anything. So you kill the body that it's living in and it can't continue living, because a parasite is exactly what it is, a parasite. It lives off the host. So they use, I think it was 16mm rounds, lead rounds, shotgun rounds, to pretty much destroy the body. So they killed her, and then after they realized what they can do and how to differentiate between the two, they paused the evacuation for a minute, and they gathered their information, and Miki told Shinichi that one of them was down, so he realized that Parasyte just got killed. So after that, we see they continue the evacuation, but also most of the council, like the mayor and Gotoh and everybody on his council, are mostly parasites. So they were talking about, there are other people in the building. Y'all need to check the building before you take anybody else out. And while all this was happening, people were getting killed left and right, because the leader, he is crazy. Like, even Yorigami says it at one point that he's a killer too, even though he keeps referring to Yorigami as killer. So he told them to shoot one person, and the person was a human. Like, they just shot him and killed him for absolutely no reason, which I can understand that y'all are trying to get the parasites out. Like, you're trying to pull the parasites out into the open, but you don't kill regular people just because of that. Like, if you don't have to, you shouldn't, in my personal opinion. So they killed like they killed like 3 civilians, I believe. But of course they did shoot like parasites. So parasites, one point a parasite used a human as a human shield, and then they got shot and it fell on top of somebody. There was one, it was like walking down the hallway, and it was like, thank goodness you found me. And Yorigami told them to shoot it, and it turned out to be a parasite, and it died right in front of Gotoh. There was another one that popped up, and they shot it because he wouldn't comply, and it turned out he was a parasite. Right before they went into the building, Yorigami said that because they were all lined up, it was like a group of them came out, and it included the female, I guess she's like a secretary or something to the mayor, that came out because she said she wanted to be evacuated, and turns out she was a parasite, of course. And they were freaking out because they were all like bunched together instead of walking in a straight line, and Yorigami started freaking out, and they shot one of them, and he actually turned out to be a human, which was kind of sad. So he was gone. And then the rest of them, they shot her, and they figured out who was parasites and who wasn't. So that's always a plus. But other than that, most of the episode was them differentiating who were parasites and who weren't. And then at one point, the mayor and Gotoh were talking to each other, and they're like, the mayor said to Gotoh, was like, why haven't you evacuated the building? And he was like, well, I want to observe how the humans are handling this situation for a little while longer. And then he asked the mayor, and the mayor was like, that's a good question. So they both went about their business. The mayor went to this huge council room, and Gotoh was like walking the halls, which was when Yurigami's group, which was the Mutsuki and Sasuke divisions that were left of them, were escorting him through the building. And they came across Gotoh, which was after the Parasyte died right in front of him. And at first, Yurigami was just laughing it off and being stupid, and then his eyes got huge and he took off running. It's like, that should have been a sign to y'all in the beginning, because he has been complying for the most part, and then he literally just took off running with no warning or nothing. So that should have been some type of warning. But Gotoh was like, we can go somewhere. There's somewhere where we can have more room or more space. So the 5 of the soldiers followed him like dumb butts. I would have shot him in his back if that was me, but they followed him, and Yurigami was chased down by the detective. The detective was like, why are you flipping out? He was like, do you honestly think that he's human? You can look at him and tell that he's not human, blah, blah, blah. So the detective was looking at him like he was crazy, and he was confused and upset at the same time. And Yurigami was like, y'all are really stupid. You must be absolutely crazy if you think I'm going to go over there. So after the guys went in there, of course, they got messed up. God, it really just, oh my gosh. I knew that Gotoh was freaking awesome, and he was just OP as heck, but they shot, I want to say they shot at least 100 rounds between the 5 of them, and he pretty much inhaled the bullets. He didn't even bleed or anything. He just sucked them up and threw them back at them and killed all of them. So yeah. I mentioned this to someone else earlier after I finished watching this episode. I was like, that reminds me so much of The Mask. I know this is probably really random, but there was a part at the end of The Mask when I can't remember his name, the evil guy stole the mask from Jim Carrey, and he got shot and he inhaled the bullets and then spat them back at the people. And that's exactly what this reminded me of. I don't know why. I don't know why that thought came across my mind, but it did. So yeah, Gotoh he is too OP. Like, he's like my Madara of this series. Gotoh, he's freaking amazing. Like, if he was on good side, he would be so BA. Like, it would be ridiculous how awesome he would be. But of course, he's not. So I honestly, in all honesty, do not understand how Shinichi is going to beat him. Like, not at all. I don't understand how Shinichi is going to be able to beat this man. But maybe it's just me. I don't know. So yeah, this episode was freaking awesome. And then of course at the end we see the mayor. He is like standing behind a podium in this huge room, and the soldiers file in. There's at least 10 of them, if not more. And they're all aiming at him, and he says, hello there. And that's the end of the episode. Of course, it's the freaking end of the episode. I want to see what happens. I'm so sad, though, because Parasyte only got like 4 or 5 more episodes. Maybe. Which makes it hurts my heart so bad. But, man, I guess once this season ends, I'll start reading the manga, because I think the manga just ended. So I'll read the manga up to the end. But then again, I don't want to. It depends on how long it's going to take for them to decide whether or not Parasyte's going to come back out, unless they wrap it up by the last episode. I don't know. But yeah. This episode was so freaking sad. Oh my gosh. I was not prepared at all in the slightest for this episode. But anyways, I would love to hear how you guys felt about this episode. How do you feel about the way things turned out? And I would love to hear how you think things are going to happen in next week's episode, because it looks like it's about to get really, really interesting. Like, oh my goodness, just was not prepared. So, as always, please remember to comment, thumbs up, and subscribe. It helps me a whole lot. And this is TsubakiSwagg saying adios.